thumb. We'll be taking a good look around the show and testing the latest high-tech sound gear, which will literally serenade your plants into full bloom. Also, a plan to pay professional fishermen to stay out of bayside areas fished by locals. And the touching story of twins, Maddie and Sean. One was born deaf, now the sister is helping her to talk. But first, the garden show, and we're right in the middle of one of the prettiest displays here, the Toowoomba Carnival of Flowers stand. It's just near the front door and definitely worth a look. Our resident gardening guru, John Schluter's been checking out what else is around.
Well, it's September 1, the first day of spring, the time when we think about getting out into the garden. And if you are a keen gardener and you're after some new ideas, this is certainly the place to be.
This year's Garden and Outdoor Living Show has almost 200 different exhibitors displaying a huge variety of garden themes, from landscaping ideas to pools and spas, mowers and mulches, outdoor furniture, and of course, the very best of everything green. And there's one area that's going through the roof in popularity at the moment, and that's herbs. And everyone wants to know about lavender.
John, the best lavender to grow in coastal Queensland is French lavender, Lavender dentata, this one here, which smells beautiful, and it's very easy to grow. It likes a good dry spot in the full sun, must be well drained, and people tend to water it too much, so you have to be very careful and only water it when it's thirsty. Likes an alkaline soil, so a little bit of dolomite in the soil before you plant it and dust it over the plant is a good idea. It grows beautifully in a pot, but don't put a saucer underneath it.
And still, one of the most used and traditional plants in Queensland is the native. And the advice from the experts is to have a good look around your suburb first and take note of what grows well, and that's a good place to start. And make sure you take the kids to this year's show and get them along to the carnivorous plant display.
That's a Venus flytrap. It actually physically closes on its prey and then devours it. Kids love them.
How do you care for them?
They need sunshine. You can't have them in a dark room. They need to be in the sunshine or on a sunny window ledge. Moisture, they need to be kept moist all the time, not dry out.
And if you're interested in taking your garden one step further and making it more than just a pleasant place to be, there's the best information available to change your backyard into permaculture paradise.
Permaculture really, John, is to try to have lots of food, things you can eat, and to have lots of insects and birds as well. And do it the natural way, the way nature would do it.
Now, what are the things people should do to get frogs into their backyards?
Build ponds, lots of ponds, and probably above ground ponds are good because that deters the toads because they can't climb, whereas frogs can. And they put lots of niches in there, put lots of water plants in there, logs in the ponds and ledges in the ponds for different things to congregate in, and also little plants for the frogs to climb up out of and into the trees so they can be safe. They don't have to go back down to the ground where they confront the toads.
I like those Venus flytraps. Well, John's with us. John, there's so much variety here, it's hard to believe.
There certainly is, Rick. In fact, I was here first thing this morning when the gates opened, and already an enormous amount of people flooding through the gates. So I think this is going to be a very successful show indeed.
And there are seminars so people can really learn what's going on.
Well, that's the good thing about it. It doesn't matter how experienced you are. There are seminars by experts, so you can always go home with some new information.
All right, thanks, John. We'll see you a bit later.
Okay.
Also, a little later, we'll be giving away a great new machine to recycle your garden waste. Well, there's another big show on this weekend. The gates opened at the Gold Coast show today, and as Rob Reddings found, it reveals a side of the coast that's far away from the glitzy holiday image.
Horses play a big part in this show, with pony club riders in the first major event, the March Past. Show jumping will be prominent over the next 3 days. It's a magnificent spectacle when horse and rider work together. Part of the entertainment, of course, is show bags, the mystery, the selection. The speed of the day is up to you. You can take a nice little ride on the merry-go-round or pay $4 for the privilege of doing this to your body. It has the rather unusual name of kamikaze.
Oh, that's the raddest thing in the world. You've got to go on it.
Because it's spring and a beautiful day, I decided to shout my cameraman a ride on the kamikaze. He said, "Don't be a wuss, you're the reporter. Get up there." All in the name of getting a story firsthand. Not that I didn't believe Jodie's wrap-up.
Where am I?
The show's built around kids, and 17-month-old David knows when a kid's hungry, he needs a helping hand. The lunchtime break is always a fascinating dietary experience with the wide range of taste buds put to the test. You can see the dancing Spanish stallion, a sleek and highly strung animal. Check into the Chooks Pavilion. Or just take a wander down Sideshow Alley to try your skill and luck on any number of games.
Yeah, I'll give her a prize.
The show is open from 9 in the morning until 10 at night. It ends on Saturday.
You're with Queensland's Own Extra. Tonight we're live from the Courier Mail Garden Show. There's plenty more to come, including a $250,000 incentive to improve recreational fishing. Welcome back to Extra and all the colour of the garden show. Going fishing in and around Moreton Bay just isn't what it used to be. It's being argued commercial netting is the biggest factor. So while fishing remains one of our most popular pastimes, the Redcliffe City Council is working to improve the recreational catch by putting up $250,000 to get rid of the nets. Our fishing reporter Malcolm Florence has been looking at the idea.
Redcliffe Peninsula is fishing country, a bayside suburb where 15,000 of the locals, around 30% of the population, are declared recreational fishermen. Even the local council was elected on a fishing and environment platform. Trouble is, the fishing at Redcliffe and the local estuaries isn't what it used to be.
Over the last, 15 years, we used to catch a lot of bream, tailor, mackerel, spotted mackies, but just not here now.
And it's this reduction in the quality of local fishing that has prompted the Redcliffe City Council to offer a $250,000 cash incentive to commercial net fishermen to stop netting the peninsula foreshores.
The important thing is that we're not buying back the licences. They're still entitled to fish. What we're paying for is a relocation of effort so that we can have the foreshores for the residents of the peninsula to use.
But while the Redcliffe community seems strongly in support of schemes to improve the local environment and quality of life, and the council has put its money where its collective mouth is, the plan has not found unanimous favour with local net fishermen.
Well, this decision fails to recognise that the seafood industry is one of the most important industries on the peninsula, and it supplies the 95% of the community who don't catch their own fish with seafood on the plate.
Professional fishermen also fear the precedent Redcliffe Council scheme may set in a region that boasts 300,000 recreational anglers armed with powerful economic argument. In this Queensland Fish Management Authority report of 1993, the value of Moreton Bay in terms of recreational fishing effort was put at $120 million, while the total value even at retail of commercial fish caught in this bay is about half that. Professionals have fished Redcliffe for 150 years, spend $150,000 annually on research and employ their own marine biologist. But their major concern about recreational fishing zones is loss of jobs.
No, there'll be no loss of jobs because their effort can be relocated to other areas.
The council argues that only 10 to 15 net fishermen are involved, along with 0.2% of Moreton Bay, and it's hopeful of government support. But in the meantime, with the battle lines drawn and all of Redcliffe's fishing future at stake, the proposal is bogged down.
This is all about sharing a resource. We'd like to have the fishery so normal mums and dads can go down and enjoy our parks and fish with their children along the foreshore.
It's about taking fish off the commercial sector, off the seafood industry, and off the 95% of the community who rely on the seafood industry for their seafood, taking fish off them and giving it to a handful of weekend anglers. And that's just a nonsense as far as we're concerned.
Well, the commercial versus recreational fishermen. And as usual, Malcolm is by the water. How's the weekend shaping up for fishermen, Malcolm?
Mate, it looks like quite wonderful weather for 3 days ahead of us. We're looking at northeast to southeast winds at 10 knots on the bay, seas to 0.8 of a metre, nothing very frightening there, and light southerlies overnight and early morning, and just a possibility of a very isolated shower offshore.
All right, we'll keep those fish coming in. Thanks for your time.
Will do.
And a quick look at the temperatures after a mild to warm day around town. Tonight we'll get down to 12 degrees, warming up to 23 tomorrow. And a nice evening on the Gold Coast, getting down to 12 there overnight also. A high of 22 tomorrow. We're celebrating the first day of spring here on Extra. After the break, the latest fashions for the new season. You're back with Extra and the ultimate in garden accessories. Lions, dolphins and turtles, all perfectly manicured into living animals. They come from New Image Topiary, which was voted top stand at the garden show, along with this one. As You Scape, which has some novel ideas for your outdoors, including an al fresco approach to playing chess. And if your garden needs a bit of a boost, maybe some homegrown mulch could do the trick. We have the perfect method, the MTD Chipper Shredder from Outdoor Power City at Aspley. It's a 4 horsepower unit, perfect for recycling your garden waste. And it's worth $929. To be in the running, just give our prize line number a call on 0055 60227. 0055 60227. Our computer will randomly select a winner, and there's no need to rush. The lines are open until midnight. We thought a sneak preview of the new season's fashions would be the perfect way to welcome in the warmer weather. All the latest looks were on show at the Myer Spring Fashion Show last night, and our Clothes Extra reporter Lee Muirhead was there.
Basically, you know, it's a continuation of what the theme has been for the last 2 seasons. What we're starting to see a bit more of is the body, though. We started to lose focus of the body a little bit. Everything was all very full. But now the waists are coming in, you know, the skirts are rising a little bit. The midriffs, we're starting to see a lot more of the midriff. So it's nice, and of course in summer you do want to expose yourself a little bit more. So it's quite nice to actually get a little bit of flesh in there as well.
The look for summer is comfortable and loose, and the neutral colours are still prominent.
The thing that's probably the most obvious is the simplicity of everything this summer. The colours are very light. There's not so many pastels, but the colours are really sort of going into the earthy colours. They're very light, there's lots of creams and a lot of white.
If you're gearing up to hit the shops for a spending spree, here are some garments to seriously consider.
The linen white shirt, I think that's one of the things that is a must for summer. Very cool skirts, no dictation as far as length. You can have anything that's really, really short, and there's some seriously short skirts there, but you've got to have the legs to wear them.
And there are a few items you may be able to dig out from past seasons and step out in for this coming summer.
The thongs. No, don't you like that? Well, I do jest a little bit, I've got to say. But, you know, thongs are actually, if you can find a really nice pair of thongs, you know, all the sort of flatties are coming in. Really clever things with all the strap-ups. I tell you what you can dig out from a couple of years ago is your stiletto heels.
Silver is another colour to include in your wardrobe, whether it be with jewellery or bringing in the pale shades of grey and blue in your clothing. And it's good to see dresses are making a stronger statement.
Some designers have done some terrific dresses that have a lot more shape than the slip dress, which creates, you know, better dimensions for the body. If you're a bit younger, they're fantastic. I mean, that's the whole thing. You just pop it on and you wear it. You don't have to think about it.
Yes, I love those summery looks. Now to the winner of the extra 4KQ corporate box for tomorrow night's Legends of League clash at the Suncorp Stadium. And Chris Doohan of Kalanga will be wined and dined with 9 of his friends and watch the game in first-class comfort. Chris was the lucky caller to 4KQ this morning with the answer to our question. Fatty Edwards played for Australia back in 1928. Chris said he got out his record books after extra last night and had the answer ready for this morning's phone-in. Well done to Chris. You're with Extra, live from the Garden Show. Coming up next, Doug Murray and serenading your plants. It's not as silly as it sounds. Welcome back to Extra. Well, as you know, it's the first day of spring, but it's also Butterfly Day. It's a special time to consider deafness because butterflies live in a world without sound. However, the message is that not all deaf people have to stay that way. Amanda Patterson's met a little girl who owes her hearing to a tiny electronic device and her twin sister.
Maddie and Sian Callaghan were born identical twins, but although they looked the same, Maddie was different. It took 3 months for Mum Damien to realise something was wrong.
Her cry used to sound a bit odd for a baby's cry.
Specialists conducted hearing tests and diagnosed Maddie as profoundly deaf.
It took a while to sink in. When it did, I was quite sad.
But they didn't give up hope. There was a chance her hearing loss could be reversed through a revolutionary electronic device called a cochlear implant. The operation was a complete success, and 11 months ago, her lonely world of silence turned into a bright future of magical sound.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that? Oh, listen to the apple.
She'd just sort of look up and point to her ear and then just go back to playing again. It's quite funny.
So take a look at me now.
Now the 3-year-old twins spend an hour a week with the Hear and Say Centre, Maddie learning to listen and Sian providing moral support.
I want the apple and the duck. Good listening, good listening. And we spend a lot of time learning to listen. We spend some time with language and some time with cognitive skills or thinking skills and some time with speech. Big bird. Thank you, yes.
And her sisters not only have someone else to talk to now, but a new playmate as well.
They can play hiding games and that sort of thing, whereas Maddie could never find anyone before because she couldn't hear. They used to yell out and give each other clues, but Maddie could never look. But they can play a good game of hide and seek now.
That's if they can drag her away from play school.
Maddie loves to watch television. She'll spend hours watching children's programs and she wants them played over and over again.
When she's not dancing, that is.
We've actually noticed her with her dancing and that she can respond to different things and she jigs around. Yeah, it's nice.
Without a doubt, the cochlear implant has given little Maddie a lot more than the special gift of hearing. It's given her what most of us take for granted, a normal life.
The world's probably her oyster, yes. The world is her oyster.
Maddie and Sian, a great story there. If you're planning a spring garden, flowers are a must. And if you've ever wondered how to make the most of your blooms, Doug Murray's been recalling his hippie days when flower power was all the rage. How are you, Doug?
And I'll tell you what, Rick, it's taken 35 years to find some matching blooms for this new shirt of mine. I'm here with Lois McMillan among the floral arrangements. Lois, it must be very hard to judge all these top floral arrangements. What do you look for?
Well, Doug, they've got a schedule that they've got to work to. We're looking for the design, how they use the colour, the grouping of the carnations or the roses, the delphinium that they've used in this design here.
Scores of entries, a wide selection?
Yes, there are. We've got entries from the novice, from the junior, from the commercial section and the big design section with the big trip to Holland.
It's all here, Rick.
Doug, you've been looking at music to make the plants grow better?
We've heard of people talking to plants, but this story stretches the imagination. On display here at the Garden Show, a way to supercharge your garden. It's from America, where else? It's called Sonic Bloom, and it involves a fertiliser serenade. The hills are alive with the sound of nature. And deep in the forest, a foreign melody that's strictly man-made. Silver Beach Serenade, Lettuce Lullaby, tunes in a system called Sonic Bloom. It's been likened to botanical music, but there's more than meets the ear.
That was the actual sound of the oscillating high-frequency harmonics that stimulates the plants themselves.
To protect sensitive ears, promoter Brian Sate camouflages the message. Mixed with the music is a secret sound that triggers changes. Pores on the leaves open wider, increasing nutrient absorption. The second phase involves the application of a seaweed nutrient solution to appropriate accompaniment.
We all love the music. We sing as we're in the garden.
Evelyn Green whistles as she works. Even the vegetables get in on the act. The electromagnetic sound waves fall within the range of many bird calls. One explanation is that the sound mimics nature's growth regulators. Promoters say the plant's absorption is increased 7-fold, a claim to stretch the imagination.
It seems a bit cosmic.
Well, it's used in 20 countries incredibly successfully at present. It's produced 10 world record crops. And
We've grown things through the winter, such as our tomatoes, that nobody else is growing.
News of the evergreen garden has spread. at a neighbouring restaurant. The menu features the freshest veggies in town.
The chef comes over every morning, picks of a morning, goes back, and it's on the plate in the restaurant for lunch.
Something's got to be going right here. Just take a look around. The quality of the lettuces and everything else for this time of year.
Just a word of warning. If your garden grows sound-assisted, be prepared for a diet of the same old tunes.
Doug, it sounds pretty hard to believe. I'm a bit worried that it might have an effect on you if you get too close to it.
I found a way to interface with this floral arrangement, Rick, but you're right. It'll be interesting to weigh and measure myself tomorrow to see if I've grown any.
Yeah. Have they put plenty of fertiliser on you?
Well, I got some on my boots, I know that.
OK, thanks, mate.
Correct.
Well, that's it for tonight. Tomorrow, Extras out in the garden again. We're off to Springtopia with the artists who have created a festival of flowers at Southbank Parklands. Also, we'll meet Bull Rush, Queensland's top new rock band, literally bringing down the house. And Brisbane's major minor fan. He's just mad about the Morris. Those stories and more tomorrow at 5:30 when we're live from Southbank, and I hope you can join us.